everyone, and we are here for a very unique shoot interview. In fact, it's not a shoot interview at all. It is a how-to, and we are joined...
It's a beat-me-up interview. You're going to beat me with clubs later. I know that.
We are joined by the legendary Jim Cornette, and thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very little. You're welcome even less.
And basically what we're going to do is give you a variety of topics, and you will tell us how to do it correctly.
And I will confuse everyone to the utmost ability of the law.
All right, let's start with promos. What should every wrestler do in a basic promo?
You know, once again, this is all such a long, involved process, and it's experience. You can't really tell somebody exactly what to do in a how-to tape. However, it depends on the promo. If it's a local promo or something geared to a pay-per-view or a specific event, then naturally you got to sell the match. You got to sell the people on the idea that what they're about to see is the dadgumdest fight they're ever going to see in their life. It's going to beat everything they've ever seen before. It's going to be worth the price of admission and more. And you've got to get them involved in the issue or the subject or the confrontation or whatever it may be. And a lot of that comes from the heart. And you've got to be able to, I tell the guys in OVW a lot, I don't want you to memorize some cute, clever phrase that you've thought of or something like that. If you can do that naturally, it's great. But instead of memorizing exactly what you're going to say and standing there with the deer caught in the headlights, Stepford Wives look and go, I will beat you on June 21st because I am better, then no, people don't believe that. They're going to click, click. What's that sound I hear? Television stations all across America are sets. Click, 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 click. They want to hear somebody from the heart say, I hate your fucking guts, and I'm going to kill you. That's what they want to hear. Jerry Springer. When Jerry Springer was legitimate, the producer would get one side in one room and one side in the other room, and they'd fire him up. You wouldn't believe what so-and-so said about you. Well, you wouldn't believe what so-and-so said about you. By the time they come out on stage, they're ready to kill each other. But then they were getting too many lawsuits and everything. Now Jerry Springer is phony. Imagine that. A reality talk show fixed, but Jerry Springer's phony. It's people acting, playing a part, and you can tell when you watch it. You can tell those people are not genuine, they're not legitimate, and therefore, Jerry Springer now, because of the name, is still on television, but instead of 4 o'clock on the ABC affiliate, he's at 2 in the morning on the UPN, because it's yesterday. You've got to have some kind of legitimacy. When I've got something I always tell the guys. When somebody knocks on the door, if I say, come in, I'm a good worker. Somebody knocks on the door, I say, is that the phone? I'm a bad worker. Because I'm not listening to what's going on. It's not acting, it's reacting. If you're not listening to somebody that's yelling at you, that's getting in your face, that's telling you what's going on, if you're not listening to them, if you're just thinking, now as soon as he stops, then I'm going to say this and this and this and this and this, and that'll really be cute. Well, then he's going to say, yeah, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to take your title, I'm going to run you out of town, and by the way, your wife blew me last week. Oh, you think you're going to take my title, huh? He threw that last part in just because he thought of it. You're not listening, so now all of a sudden people go, wait a minute. Losing a title's more important than his wife blowing the face. Listen to the people that are talking to you. If you're having a confrontation with somebody, you get up in their face, you listen to what they say, you respond to it, and you mean it. People will buy. I'm not saying we can put the genie back in the bottle. Professional wrestling, in most cases, although now people are going to business for themselves, there's things that happen, but in most cases, professional wrestling, the people take it as entertainment instead of legitimacy. Easier on us. I was talking to Bobby Heenan about that the other week. Bobby Heenan, classic thing he said, a caller on the radio show we were on said, why can't the guys get heat anymore where they want to kill the heels and stab the heels and shoot the heels and beat up the heels with clubs and blunt instruments? And Bobby said, watch television, watch the news. There's war going on in Iraq. There's people killing their husbands and wives and dumping them in the bay. There's people getting their heads cut off. How can you get heat by pulling some guy's trunks? And it's true. People are immune to that. They're so immunized to violence. But still, if there's a personality that the people believe in, if there's an issue that's on television that they can say, okay, so-and-so, they should be mad. And if the guys get up in each other's face and they carry it off, and maybe there's a little bit of, sticking the other guy in it too, that's what sells tickets. Jerry Jarrett used to love to have Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee wrestle each other because even when they were partners, the people knew they hated each other. Lawler was the top star. Dundee couldn't really get over him, but Dundee was the workaholic, and he was there to book or to work or to do whatever Jerry Jarrett wanted. And Jerry Lawler, if his house was on fire, he'd say, hold on a second, show will be over in a minute, I'm watching TV. You know, he doesn't get upset about anything. Never freaks out about anything. So you had two very disparate personalities, and they didn't like each other. And the people knew it. So even if they were both baby faces, people knew that Lawler and Dundee, they don't get along. When they were wrestling each other, that's when they'd come out. Lawler would say, Dundee, you got a big problem because you're 5'2" and I'm 6'2", and you know, because Dundee was, you know, a little sensitive about his size. And Dundee would say, well, every time I ride in the car with Lawler, he's going to put in Jerry Lawler's greatest hits, all those 5 albums that he produced that went plywood. They were on the verge of becoming sheetrock when they weren't released. They escaped. And he'd say, I can't stand to hear any more Jerry Lawler's greatest hits. And the point is, there was legitimate heat that they would bring up. So when you can stick somebody, and when I was doing promos, I would go for the jugular. I would go to make those baby faces mad, because when they came back, there wasn't anything really that they were allowed to say on television without getting kicked off the air that they couldn't say to me that I would get mad about, because I pretty well decimated them down to their testicles anyway. So, promos, going on too long. Make them believable. Have a conversation, have an argument, have a confrontation. Don't memorize this script that you think that's going to be cute, and you're going to say a lot of things that people are going to go, ooh, he said that, because they aren't going to believe it. Dusty Rhodes. Once again, Dusty Rhodes on the closed captioning. Watch WCW Saturday Night in the days when Dusty did commentary. The closed captioning reader couldn't read him. They don't know what the Dusty Rhodes are trying to think. Man, he pancaked him, man, flapjacked him, man, honey, we're going to have gravy tonight. I don't know what to tell you. Nobody knows what Dusty's saying, but when he looked in that camera, and he said, Old Anderson, one thing you're going to remember in the Omni, Friday night, payback is hell, Daddy. Now we know what Dusty Rhodes said. He's going to kick Ole Anderson's fucking rosy red ass Friday night in the Omni. We got to be there. Dusty could talk him in the building. Even if you didn't understand what he was saying, he could talk him in the building. It's emotion, it's passion, it's intensity. Don't script things. Don't write things. I never had a script handed to me because I can't remember them anyway. I never say the same thing twice, the same way. You can't do that. It's got to come from the heart, passion, emotion. And if a guy can't talk from the heart, from emotion, and tell that story and explain to the people why they got to see this match worse than they did to see their mother hooked up to a machine in the intensive care ward, then they ain't top guys, and they need to wrestle underneath somewhere.
Is there any advice that you can give people to really feel it? I mean, you touched on some things that they can do, but I mean, just in case a guy just really isn't getting it.
If you're going to have an argument with somebody, you don't sit there in your house for 3 fucking days thinking of cute things to say to him, because what you're going to do is you're going to get mad at something he did, and you're going to get up in his face, and you're going to tell him what you think of him. That's an argument. A confrontation. If you're going to have a fight with somebody, obviously you're going to think, God, I'm ready to go, but you can't just, I'm going to kick his ass. You gotta say it in a more colorful way, a colorful phrase. You can't just go out and say, you're a big phony. You're as phony as a get well card from an undertaker. Make it colorful somehow. There's so many different ways. There's no real set, hard and fast rule. Everybody talks different. Jerry Lawler was tremendous. Jerry Lawler could fill up a building with an interview. Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Arn Anderson. And none of them really were similar to the other. They all had different ways to do it. But all of those guys were great promos, great talkers. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Who's going to say shit that The Rock says? But the people love it. Because he's The Rock. You got to make it colorful. You can't just stand there and go, well, I hope to win this wrestling match, and if I do, I'm going to take my purse, and half of it I'm going to put in the bank, and the other half send home to my mother. No, Flair would go, woo, when I win the Crockett Cup, $1 million, then I'm going to go to the Marriott, and the drinks are on me, and ladies, none of you can be first, but one of you can be next. And people go, fuck, we got to see this fucking guy. it just, they can talk to drab people at their work, right? They work at a cubicle. They can talk to drab people next to them all day long. They want to see somebody that says the shit that they want to say, or that they would say if they had the chance. And that's the thing about a Babyface promo. In a Babyface promo, the Babyface should illustrate why he's mad at the guy, what he's going to do to the guy to get even for what the guy did. And he's also going to say the things that the fans wish they could say if they had the opportunity. They'd like to say, Jim Cornette, you're a no-good faggot. They'd like to say, Ric Flair, you're a stuck-up prick. They'd like to say those things, but they can't because they don't have a microphone. They're not on TV. So when the guy that they're watching says that, yeah, I'm on your side. That's a Babyface promo. What'd he do to you? What are you going to do about it? And what do you think of him? And in the process, say shit that they'd like to say if they had the chance. When I used to talk about Paul E., I would say everything about Paul E. that the people could plainly see was true. He was a disreputable human being. And I would say those things. They wanted to be able to say that themselves, so they agreed with me. And I was a big prick at the time myself. Why would anybody like Jim Cornette? Because the other guy was a bigger asshole, and Jim Cornette was knocking him, and it was funny. With a heel promo, lie, exaggerate, put yourself over, be egotistical, and talk about how you're the greatest things in sliced bread and everybody else is second place. Talk about how you're going to destroy the only hope that the people have left. You know, you're going to take Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, and you're going to show them for the second-rate team that they are. You're going to destroy all the people's hopes. Everybody out there chanting rock and roll, it's all going to come to a screeching halt. The music will die on February 3rd at the Omni, whatever the fuck. Lie, exaggerate, be egotistical, piss people off. That's a heel. Babyface, sell the match, and say what the people wish they could say if they had the chance.
Does a manager's promo just fall into those two categories, or is there anything different than a manager's
and I mean, also you gotta, the thing is, you've got to get your team over, your guy over that you're managing. Just little things. You don't have to go hog wild with it, but one time Stan Lane wasn't at TBS. So I said, you may notice Stan's not here. Stan, being the charitable guy that he is, noticed that there was a home for unwed mothers that was not doing well, so Stan Lane, on his own time, on his own money, is going out and supplying that home with more unwed mothers. What the fuck is this guy saying, right? But at the same time, Stan's not even there, and I'm helping get Stan over. Just little background shit. Just be colorful. But the most important thing is, that was natural for me then. Plus, I was younger and I had more wind. I could talk faster, but be natural for yourself. If a guy's 6'3" and has a mohawk haircut and tattoos all over his body and rides a Harley, the last thing he wants to do is adopt a gay gimmick. Because he can't feel that. He can't make that believable. He can't bring that out. There's no reason for that. Be natural. Bring it from within yourself, turn the volume up, and get it across.
How about a go-home promo, like it's the week before the big pay-per-view or the big match? Is there any principles or any basics that need to go in that, or does that cover...
Mention that a lot. If it's this Friday night, it's what we've all been waiting for. This Friday night, you're going down this Friday night. Yeah, as many times as you can say this Friday night, because that gets to people's mind. My God, it's this Friday night. It's easy, but everybody, they want to concoct some long song and dance Who Shot John bullshit promo about, wow, I've thought of this story I can tell. Well, by the time you finish telling the fucking story, people have tuned you out because they don't give a shit. They want to see something that smacks them in the face. Why do I want to see this? Why do I care that these guys are fighting? Why do I want to see this? And you got a very short time to tell me. So don't go around your elbow to get to your wrist. Hit the meat of the matter. It's timing and it's just experience and a lot of people are not comfortable talking on camera. A lot of people feel like they've got to memorize what they're going to say, and then they come off with that blank look because you can tell they're shifting around trying to figure out what was it I was going to say. Yeah, just rattle the shit off. If you're good at shows, and if you're not good, practice, get better, or do something else.
Are there any other glaring mistakes that you see people making in promos?
Almost every time I watch a promo, but it would take it would take 3 days to list those. Really, it's like art. It's subjective. It's not a math test. You can't get a 97, or it's not a geography test. If you know where Brazil is, you passed. It's art. You know, Picasso, they sell for $5 million. Most people I know don't have 3 years, but some people like Picasso. It's subjective. And what you got to do is you got to appeal to the most people, the widest number of people, the widest audience, as you possibly can to get people to come see you. Some are going to like you, some are going to hate you, some just going to see what the fuck's going to happen. But it's art. It's subjective. A lot of people, if you ask everybody watch this tape, everybody in this room, there's thousands, by the way, a huge studio audience right behind. Everybody's going to have a different favorite. A lot of people are going to like Ric Flair. A lot of people are going to like Steve Austin. A lot of people are going to like Mick Foley. And then, it's going to get down, and finally, lost legends like Chris Colt. There'll be one guy in the back with a wart on his nose. Yeah, I like Chris Colt, But, goddamn, Chris Colt impressed that one fucking guy that he was the greatest fucking talent in the history of the business. So it's not right or wrong. It's just what works. If they buy tickets, it worked.
Okay. One thing I always heard about promos is that you should be careful about degrading your opponent, such as saying, he's you're not that good or something like that, just because if you lose to him, then that makes you look bad. Is that...
Well, once again, as a manager, I could always degrade my opponents because the thing is, I'm a weaselly little shyster, con man, rich mama's boy, whatever the period of time I was in. And of course, I would always stand there and infuriate people by saying that my guys were better than anybody out there. I could get away with that. If you're an Arn Anderson, you want to put your opponent over. You want to say he's good, he's fast, he's quick, he's agile, he's tough, he's smart. Most people he could beat, but not me, because I'm better, because I'm all those things and more. That type of thing. What you don't want to do is if your babyface has a really glaring, obvious weakness, like he's 66 years old or has one leg or, is in the middle of falling apart, you don't want to say that because that's true and people go, yeah, that's right, he don't stand a fucking chance. But, I could talk about, all of the supposed defects the babyfaces had that they really didn't have. I could say, these guys are punks, nobody cares about it, whatever. As long as you don't hit too close to the nerve.
Then
because
you make yourself a liar.
Yeah, I'm a liar. I'm a heel. That's what I'm supposed to do. I can lie all day long, and that just makes people madder at me and more anxious to see people beat me up. But if your babyface is really over the hill or really fat and out of shape or really just fucking putrid, you don't want to come out and say that because people will go, yeah, you know what, you're right. We better miss this one. So... knock the guys, but at the same time, don't knock them too close to the bone where the people can see, yeah, you're right. Fuck, we better not even worry about that one.
Before we move on from promos, anything else you want to add about promos?
It's an art form all in itself, and I guess, guys, everybody needs to be relaxed more. Everybody needs to just think, what would I say if this whole situation, this whole world that we live in, our little wrestling world, if it was real? If the things that we had done really happened to me, really happened to him, really happened to him, what would I say? What would I do? How would I react? What frame of mind would I be in? Would I be pissed? Would I be happy? Would I be sad? Would I be jumping up and down off the walls? Or would I be scared to freaking death? And do that. Because people can tell genuine, honest emotions. And sincerity is the key. And once you can fake that, you got it made.
Okay. All right, moving on to working as a heel. What characteristics, basic characteristics, make up a good heel character?
Once again, the only rule of thumb is there is no rule of thumb because there's been heels that stretch the gamut in this business. There's the cool heels. Ric Flair was one of the original cool heels. There's the just pissy-ass little Weasley heel. I mean, Bobby Heenan was a classic example of the weasel. There's all kinds of heels, but what you need to do at the bottom of the whole thing is, what characteristics in a human being would be dislikable? What characteristics in a human being would make the most amount of the general public think that you're just a prick and they don't like you? You're annoying, you're obnoxious, you're dishonest, you're arrogant, you're egotistical, you're a cheat, a liar, a con man, a coward, a fraud. What is not likable? Be that. Be that. Stab your mother in the back and have her arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. Do anything you can do to be disreputable. That's a heel. But make it fit who you are. Arn Anderson, once again, it could be probably nobody with more differences in their professional careers than Jim Cornette and Arn Anderson. We were both heels for a majority of the time. I was the rich mama's boy, possibly ambiguously gay, weasel, coward, scared to death. Arn Anderson was a tough, kick-ass, no-nonsense wrestler that would tell people he was better and show them, but when it came time to back up from Dusty Rhodes or to back up from the top babyface, he would do that. And at the same time, he would cheat in the match to win. He would tell the people, he'd make no bones about it, I'm going to cheat. Because that's what I do. I don't care what you people think of me. I don't care whether you like me or not. Because I don't take your cheers and your applause to the bank. I take my check to the bank, and if I win, I make more money. Therefore, guess who loses? You. Because I don't give a fuck what you think as long as I'm happy. That's another kind of heel. And there's all kinds of heels in between. So it's all about psychology. Think of what makes a person dislikable and find out what qualities you have that would closely resemble those, and everybody's got them. Mother Teresa may be the only complete babyface in the whole fucking world, and amplify that. And the same thing goes for a babyface. Used to, babyfaces were dimple-faced and smiley and nice, and they kissed babies and they shook hands and they would never think of using a closed fist. Well, once again, going back to Bobby Heenan's statement about the news, fuck! Now those are the heels because people are so cynical and jaded and just overly overwhelmed with what's going on in the world that they want a Steve Austin who drinks beer and cusses and kicks ass and don't mind telling you he's going to do it and don't give a fuck what people thinks. But at the same time, he won't walk up to an old woman and kick her over and steal her purse. He's got a code of honor. He's got some ethics. But he'll do whatever it takes to get ahead because it's him or me. Because if you don't watch out for me, then I better do it because nobody else is. I'm after number one. I'm for number one. So now the babyface in this more cynical society is the guy who has a code of ethics that he won't take advantage of the downtrodden or the handicapped or the old or the infirm or whatever, but he will basically do anything else that he has to do or that he's backed in a corner to do. He wants to win things on his own, but if somebody tries to fuck with him, if he can turn it around, he'll fuck with them the same way. So babyfaces have changed, but once again, ultimately it comes down to psychology. Do you believe in the guy? Do you want to be like the guy? A lot of people want to be like Ric Flair. They can't, but they'd like to be like him because he's a limousine-riding, jet-flying, kiss-stealing, wheel-and-dealing son of a gun, and they want to fuck the Playboy Playmates. So they want to be like Ric Flair. They might not want to be like Mick Foley. They'd rather hang out with Mick Foley. They'd rather have Mick Foley for a friend because Mick Foley's a cool guy to fucking hang out with. Wouldn't he be a great guy to just talk to? The Rock. I don't know if anybody wants to, they probably might want to be like The Rock, even though they might think, well, fuck, we could never be like that. But they want to watch The Rock because The Rock is cool. And what's The Rock going to do? Every babyface has a different, Ricky Morton. Speaking of babyfaces, classic example, or Ricky Steamboat. They could sell to where that the people would get sympathy for him, where they might not want to be like Ricky Morton or Ricky Steamboat. They felt sympathy for Ricky Morton and Ricky Steamboat because here's these guys that are trying to do the best they can and they're talented and they're getting overwhelmed by greater odds or by these heels that are taking advantage of them, but they still won't quit. They'll reach out when they're in that hole. They'll reach out and they'll look at the people in the front row. Help me, help me. And people are like, God damn, he needs some help. I know it worked for Ricky Morton on more than one occasion. I have scars all over my head to prove that. That's empathy. So a babyface basically is somebody they want to like, they want to be like, they want to look up to, or they it's an underdog that they feel sympathy for, and they want to see him succeed because, God damn it, Dusty Rhodes, the American dream, son of a plumber. Well, okay, let's say this guy in Dubuque over here is saying, well, my dad cleaned fucking septic tanks. That's even worse than a plumber. At least a plumber can stay on top of the ground. My dad had to fucking tie a goddamn diver's helmet on his head and dive into people's fucking raw sewage. But if Dusty Rhodes, kind of out of shape, not exactly the youngest guy in the world, and the son of a plumber from Austin, Texas, if he can be a star on TV, maybe there's hope for my miserable ass. That's a babyface. Some likable quality. The exact opposite of a heel. But there's no rule because it's got to be you.
Okay.
Therein lies the tale. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Looking at not character-wise, as far as things physically that somebody can do a match, or things they can do within the context of a match, what should a heel do within a match? Like, for instance, maybe withholding some big moves, or the pacing of the match. Or...
Well, once again, actually, this is not going to sound like it makes sense. The people determine the pacing of the match, even though the first thing we tell guys is don't listen to the people. Don't listen to the people in terms of them telling you what to do. In other words, they say, boring. Johnny Valentine, he'd have a hold on. If somebody went boring, his look would be like, okay, if you think it's boring now, wait 15 fucking minutes and see how bad it is. And he wouldn't do shit until they stopped, and then he'd do it on his own time. That was years ago, but the point being, the crowd cannot dictate the pace of the match, because once they've learned they can do that, then they will do it every time, because the average American public is a wise ass and will do that. So what you have to do is you have to realize that you're the conductor, they're the orchestra. And you got to give them their money's worth because they paid to see you, but at the same time, they don't know where you're going. So just because they want something right now, this is the age of immediate gratification. Push a button, change channel, push a button, somebody brings you a pizza in 2 seconds, whatever. I wish we had one of those around here now. They don't know where you're going. So you've got to have confidence in the story you're fixed to tell them that you can get past all that. Do not let the people dictate the pace of the match to you, otherwise you're cooked. Tell the story, but at the same time, you got to hear what they're buying. So when you go out there and you start, and that's why all this stuff about setting matches up in the locker room. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Okay, I'll throw 3 punches, then you duck, then you hit me twice, you shoot me off. You go for a backdrop, I'll kick you, you stand up, I'll clothesline you. When you take a bump, I'll hit the ropes on the other side, I'll come off, you power slam me, you go to drop an elbow, I'll move. Where the fuck does all that shit come from? Why don't you go out there, have an idea of kind of sort of what you're going to do for a little heat spot, stop the baby face, and have kind of sort of an idea about the finish, and see what they're buying. Because if you go out there and try to sell them chicken for 15 minutes and it's a vegetarian crowd, then you're fucked. You're forcing something down their throat they don't want to buy. Maybe they want to see the babyface kick the heel's ass longer than you had planned. Maybe they don't want to see the babyface kick the heel's ass at all at the first. Maybe they want to see the heel do his shit and the babyface make a comeback. Whatever. You listen to the people react to what you do, and then you do more in that vein because of that. But if you're just in a hold and people going boring or we want blood or whatever, well, fuck you. You're going to get what we give you because we got an idea here. Just sit back, relax. We're fucking this dog. You just hold its head and see if you like it at the end. I've never heard a joke that was funny until you got to the punchline. People won't let you get the punchline anymore. In the first 3 minutes, they're like, well, goddamn, is that all we're going to fucking do? Well, wait a goddamn minute. Where else are you going to go? You paid to be there. Sit the fuck down and shut up. That's the thing. So if you set everything up move for move and one foot in front of the other, if it's not working, you can't change it. Why do you think all them Mexican matches go to shit at some point? Have you ever seen one of those 6-man Mexican matches that at some point somebody forgot where the fuck they were and the whole thing goes to shit?
I've seen plenty of indie matches like that. So.
Anyway, well, same thing. It's because they're all goddamn trying to remember where the fuck are we supposed to be? Well, goddamn, calm down, arm drag, grab a fucking hold, and get the fuck over it. And nobody was, unless the whole crowd was in on the meeting, they don't know what you're going to do anyway. So here's another thing. People fuck shit up right in the ring. Here's the classic way you can know that a spot was just fucked up, because one or more of the guys is going to go, shit. Or if you don't tell them, they don't know. You tell them like that. People go, oh shit, he fucked that up. Look at his face. Well, if the fucking guy, the guy's going to jump off the top rope and cross body and he lands 3 feet fucking in front of you, doesn't make it all the way, just look down and kick him in the head. Fuck you, boom. People go, oh shit. Guys overanalyze, overthink. They don't know what you're going to do. And once again, the other night, in OVW, 6-person tag, Brent Albright, Chris Masters, and Beth Phoenix against Danny Inferno, The Idol, and Trudy DiNucci, the Jersey Crew. Albright gets thrown out of the ring, and he was thrown evidently so quickly or whatever that he missed the middle rope, and he just went, bam, landed, fucked his shoulder up, and had to be counted out. Well, now that is a glaring slap in the face to the fans that what we do is a work, because all of a sudden everybody's standing around and go, the guys in the match are standing around and go, oh shit, he's hurt. It's a wrestling match. He's supposed to be fucking hurt. There's guys fucking saying hurt all the time, but now, shit, he's really hurt. Now people are going, oh fuck, he's hurt. Everybody's standing around, I sent people out, I said, goddamn, count him the fuck out. Masters get on the microphone and say, my partner may be hurt, but goddamn it, you're not going to win that way. We'll take you 3-on-2. And fucking bing, 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 bing. Well, anyway, what do we do for a finish? Sunset fucking flip. I don't give a shit. Just have the goddamn match. Carry the injured motherfucker out on a spatula. He's hurt. We're attending to him. Meanwhile, the match's still going on. The people now are into it again. Hey, hey, hey. Sunset flip, small package, 1, 2, 3. Yay! But when you slap him in the face with, everybody standing there going, oh shit, what do we do? He's really hurt. It's a fucking wrestling match. He's supposed to be hurt. He's hurt every goddamn minute he's getting beat on. Why is this any different? Because it's real. Well, you know what? It's all real. If you don't tell him it's not, that's oh God, I get so frantic. Anyway.
All right, well, looking at a heel in a way that he can command attention from a crowd, for instance, like Ric Flair, he'd always command the attention of a crowd. What are some of the little and subtle things that a heel can do to get that?
One thing is facial expression. I mean, and you know, I'm sitting on a couch here. I'd stand up. The Buddy Rogers strut. Vince McMahon was influenced greatly by 2 of the greatest heels in the history of the business. Buddy Rogers and Dr. Jerry Graham. When he was a kid growing up, that's who he watched and saw. And when you see Vince McMahon, who has more personality, you know, whether you like him or you don't like him, and that's the mark of a great wrestling personality. Some people hate him, some people love him, whatever. When he goes to the ring and does that strut, that's the second coming of Buddy Rogers and Jerry Graham. What's old is new again. You've got to have body language that indicates that, you know, Flair strutted like a peacock. Flair would stop on the apron and tell the referee, hey, flunky, little man, spread the ropes. I'm a star. You can't go out there. A lot of the baby faces go out there and are so high-strung that they want to pump the crowd up and they want to get the people behind them. And they'll run out there to the ring and they'll jump in and they'll hop up and down like they're doing jumping jacks, and they're probably blowed up before the match starts. And especially even during the match, they're going, yeah! Read him. If you ain't over, the worst thing you can do is go, yeah! Because people don't give a shit and they're going, yeah, fuck you, we ain't doing nothing. You ain't showed us shit yet. So if you don't feel the people with you, yeah, is not going to get them. You have to do something first to get them. Once you hear, okay, they're coming with me a little bit, I think, yeah, power slam, boom, fire up, yeah, and then you go, yeah, and then you go, okay, I'm quitting while I'm ahead, back to business. With the heels, you can't, I don't care if you pick out an old woman in the front row and go down her family lineage and talk about what, you know, criminals and whores and prostitutes and disreputable human beings and welfare cases, etc. she was descended from for the last 400 fucking years. If you don't do something in the ring to make them dislike you as a wrestler, they're going to get bored because now you're talking to one person. Now, when they already don't like you, or when you need to kill some time, say in a smaller show or whatever, and there's one of the local fans that really makes a stir, the hat pin Mary or whatever in the old days. Some colorful character, whether it be the drunk guy on the front row or the old lady that climbs over the rail and loses her wig or whatever. When you're taking bumps, boom, 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 and you roll out and you see them there now, the people already know them, right? And the people are already getting on you a little bit. You can get on their case, and now the people, because they're going to fire back at you, and now you got something going on. But every crowd is different. You have to pick people. You have to feel what the reaction is. We've had times where we would go out and we were St. Peter's best friend. We didn't have to do anything. We're baby faces. So don't overplay it, just go with it. We've had times going out where we were, Hitler's best friend. Where we were the biggest heels in the world, where I didn't have to do shit. In Tulsa and Mid-South wrestling in the old days, I'd stand there and hug the ring post, because if I moved, some fucking redneck was going to jump the rail and beat my ass. I didn't have to do anything to get heat. And there's sometimes you go out. I can think of a few times in Nassau Coliseum. There are just terribly jaded folks up there. And nobody gave a shit what we did. They didn't care. It was like somebody had held a gun to their head and said, please go into these wrestling matches right now under penalty of your life, right? So they're sitting there. Start up the McCulloch chainsaw, it doesn't matter. Cut the babies' heads off, kill puppies, they don't give a shit. They ain't buying it, in which case you do your best and you get the fuck out of there. Body language, self-assuredness on babyface or heel side, and just playing with the atmosphere you got. It's not really something you can teach, you just have to feel it. You have to feel it from the atmosphere that, but you can't go out there and hold your head down. This ain't a babyface. You got to be exciting. You got to have some charisma. You got to have a smile on your face when you're introduced, or at least a look of determination if it's a hot match. As a heel, you got to look down your nose at people. You got to imagine that you're better than they are. You're checking the place out to see if it needs painting. Whatever the case may be. Once again, instead of verbal, it's physical, likable or dislikable characteristics.
Yeah, why don't you explain the importance of showing your face to the crowd the whole time?
Oh, gee.
That's something a lot of wrestlers don't do that I've noticed.
This I've heard Vince say this, and it's not just limited to him. This is where you make your money, on television, in the arena. Now, I will say, in these big arenas, 20,000 seat Madison Square Garden, everybody can't see your face. But the great workers, and there's a difference between a great wrestler and a great worker. Rulon Gardner's a great wrestler. He won the Olympic gold medal. I don't know, or didn't win the gold medal, you know what I'm saying. But I don't know whether he'd be a great worker or not. Jerry Lawler, I always give this example. Lawler had great facial expressions as a heel or a babyface, but his body language matched his facial expressions. You could be sitting in a 16,000 seat arena, and you could be in the back row, and you could look at Jerry Lawler from behind, and by the way he was standing or reacting or just taking a bump and come up, you knew what his facial expression was without him being able to see his face, because the whole body portrayed it. And that's, a lot of guys are so intent, and because all of this stuff is so complicated now, where there's this 15 phase high spots where people are trying to remember, oh shit, and I got to duck under and he's going to come and spin in head scissors. They're doing this, the punch. The punch means nothing now. On a comeback, a punch, bam, rock the fucking guy, Jesus Christ. Now it's like boop, 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 and the guy's going, okay, now you're going to shoot me off. He's not selling a punch because he's backing up to the ropes, because now he's going to shoot me off and he's going to go for the clothesline. I'm going to duck it. I'm going to crossbody him and he's going to catch me. He's going to sack of shit me over like that. He's going to nip up, and when he turns around, I'll drop kick him. Fuck, just punch the motherfucker in the face. That's what people are waiting for. So this boom, 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 and this boom, boom, boom. They're standing there thinking, what am I going to do next? React to the moment. Don't get caught up in what's coming up next, because they don't know what's coming up next. They don't give a shit. If that punch don't look any good, guess what, babyface, you're sunk because you hit like a girl. So they don't give a shit what the fuck you do after that. Body language needs to match the facial expression. They should see the face. especially on promos, especially when you take the backdrop and you come up, oh, Jesus Christ. But so many guys, once again, are so concerned about taking an artsy-fartsy, perfectly formed backdrop that when they land, they just do this. They know they got to grab their back. They're supposed to do that. They know that. And they do this, and they're looking up like, and now you got to shoot me off again. Sell the fucking backdrop. Dick Murdoch could get so much mileage out of one punch. God, he'd sell his nose, he'd take a bump, he'd do the curly shuffle around the ring, he'd come over to the manager, check my nostril, what, you know. I'm not saying the guys have to slow down the pace of, although in some cases that would be a bonus these days, because once again, as I've said before, nobody claps at a tennis game until somebody misses the ball. If you never stop running, bang, 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 bang. Okay, if I do that for 10 minutes, finally people are going to go, fuck, is there any popcorn? It's bang, 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 boom. Wow. You got to give them a place to clap. If you just keep running, everything goes by. They don't get any reaction.
Okay. Well, we're talking about body language and showing your face and that kind of stuff. Barry Windham was a great babyface at that.
Oh.
And when you kind of take Windham as an example and kind of explain the kind of things that he did.
Well, you know, Barry had that glassy-eyed look and the stagger, and he was so tall, but he had amazing agility. If you pickled him and he'd turn around and he'd be goofy and he'd stagger to the ropes and he'd fall over the top rope, roll off the apron, fall to the guardrail, hit his head on that, and take a bump back on the floor from one good drop kick or whatever. People went, God damn. But the whole time, if you go back and watch a lot of old tapes from a lot of old top talents, even if they were really going at a good clip, at a fast pace, their facial expression registered for a split second or whatever what had been done to them. And the body language followed along. You know, if it was good, I mean, there's always been bad wrestling. I don't think there's old wrestling and new wrestling. I think there's bad wrestling and good wrestling. So, you know, if your facial expression doesn't register what's happened to you, then the people aren't going to buy it because there's no pain, or there's no happiness, or there's no, or whatever the case may be. Oh, Jesus. Instead of, oh, that's selling. You're selling the move to someone. So, once again, you know, guys are too concerned with getting through this 7-minute exhibition of choreographed spots instead of worrying about going out telling a story to the people that they can believe, where the babyface is looking good, but the heel gets frustrated, so then he has to cheat a little bit, and then he gets him going, and now the babyface is being waltzed across Texas, and he's miserable, and he's on the verge of defeat, but they can't put him away until finally the heel goes for all or nothing, gets nothing, and the babyface has one last chance to make the comeback, and boy, when he does, goddamn, the people better be with him, and holy shit, then whatever happens from there, you've told him a story. And there's variations on that. There's a million variations, because you can't just do the same formula all the time, but you got to know when to do the variations, which is another reason why this tape is going to be confusing to a lot of people. Because he said, well, no, wait a minute. He said, do that, but then he said, don't do that, but we shouldn't always do that, but we always ought to try to do that unless we do the other thing. Third base.
What are some of the things like, you mentioned the variations, what are some of the things that heel can do maybe early in a match to kind of set the story of a match or set the tone?
Well, let's say, for example, you've got a really big heel and a really small babyface. And once again, Lawler was a master at this. I grew up watching him, so I've taken a lot of his tricks, but this is evergreen. Instead of, generally in a match, the babyface is going to kick ass for however many minutes and then get cut off, right? But if you got a babyface that's 6 feet tall, 215, and a heel that's 7 feet tall, 330, does that seem legitimate? No, so what you're going to do is the heel is going to come out and be a cocky, arrogant son of a gun, and he's going to snatch the little guy by the neck like a pit bull grabbing a terrier. He's going to throw him across the ring, and he's going to illustrate for a couple minutes that there's no possible way that this guy can ever beat him, take him off his feet, hurt him, whatever, so that finally, when the babyface gets an opening to outquick him, outsmart him, or outthink him, and hits the ropes or comes off the top or does whatever the case or kicks him in the balls, I don't care what it is, and the big monster goes down, the place blows. Because you have made the opponent a monster. You've made the Frankenstein monster dangerous, and now the little villager without even a torch just knocked him on his ass. He's still got a chance. He's still got some hope. Fooled you. You've got to. That's only a smart way to do it. Or if the babyface is inordinately over, is really super over with the crowd, whereas the heel is just coming up and they're not sure whether they'll take him as a top guy. First thing that the babyface needs to do is get his ass kicked for a couple minutes, not necessarily 100 miles an hour, but at a pretty deliberate pace, to show that he can't figure out how to get the handle on this guy. And then when he finally does figure it out and he starts taking it back to the heel, now the people are into it. Now you've hooked him. So you just start to match backwards.
Okay. Going over to the babyface side now, unless you want to explain anything else on the heel side.
I'll be glad to confuse people with anything you'd like.
Okay. Looking at the babyface side, you explain some of the characteristics that make up a babyface. What are some of the things a babyface can do in the context of a match, like physically, to show the characteristics that he is a babyface?
Well, once again, so much of this stuff depends on the individual. You almost, in the case, if they don't know that you're a babyface coming in, you can get over with them. If they know the heel, then you've got a whole lot easier job, because you can do things, because the heel is trying to go out there and get heat and hopefully succeeding. So if you're an unknown babyface with a known heel, then all you have to do is do some things to take the piss out of the heel, as Adrian Street used to say. Take the piss out of him, mate. If they don't know either one of you, then you really have to start from scratch. The best thing to do is keep it simple and establish things. And basically, the babyface should do a lot of cool shit, a lot of ha-ha-ha, acknowledge the cheers of the fans, I'm okay, and let the heel do his thing and bitch and whine and moan and complain to the referee, and sooner or later they'll get the picture. Heel cheats. Babyface cheats only after the heel is cheated, when he's provoked. That type of average shit. But everybody tries to think there's some kind of big formula, and there's not a big formula. It's individuals in the right place at the right time. What would we do? What would we all do if all this shit was really happening? If it wasn't on television, if it wasn't in a cartoon, if we weren't on the moon, what if we were all just really here and this shit was really happening? And I was really a prick and you were really a nice guy and we were having a professional wrestling match and a bunch of people came to see it. What would we do? And we just do that. And people, they get the picture. If you try to pre-plan and overanalyze, oh my God, well now would that be good for, because I run a wrestling school, so believe me, I get this. Now, is it too soon in my push for me to take a bump now, or is this babyface, is he strong enough that he ought to be able to put me down, or am I too big, or should I take that bump, or what? God damn, just go with it. If the people are jumping up and down, throwing babies in the air, cheering and screaming, you're doing right. If they're sitting there going, geez, you think they got any fucking nachos left? Then you better change your shit. This isn't rocket surgery. It's not even brain science, as a matter of fact.
How about as far as selling goes?
He's gonna kill me.
Is there any differences that you should do when you're selling, if you're a heel or a baby?
Yes, a baby face traditionally sells as realistically as possible, because you want the people to have some kind of sympathy or empathy or whatever pathy that word is. A baby face sells very realistically. A heel almost oversells, especially in the comeback, because the people, when they're seeing the heel beat up the baby face, they gotta, and once again, Ricky Morton and Ricky Steamboat and those classic sellers were masters of that, where it would just, Barry Windham, where they were just, you could see the guy almost ready to fucking cry from the pain he was in, and God, the physical, and they would feel sorry for this guy, and Jesus, is he ever going to get up? John Wayne and the Cowboys, right? Bruce Dern and them, they burned his ranch, they raped his wife, they killed his horse, they did everything. And John Wayne, obviously, was the bigger star than all of them. He could have had the script written where, okay, I'll shoot the fucking heel in the head, I'll shoot his gang in the foot, I'll fuck my own wife, and I'll goddamn ride off the sunset on my horse. But then John Wayne wouldn't have been over. John Wayne knew they had to get heat. The heel's got to get heat first. Got to make the babyface an underdog. No matter how strong the babyface is, he's got to be an underdog so when he makes his comeback, the people will get off on it. So the babyface is going to get the piss beat out of him by the heel, and it's going to make it as realistic as possible so that people go, holy shit, oh God. But when it's time for the babyface to make that comeback especially, the heel is going to take a bigger backdrop, and he's going to take a bigger suplex, and he's going to goddamn get punched in the face, and he's going to take a bigger bump, and he's going to go, oh shit, and the knees are going to go everywhere, because now it's time for the babyface to shine after his ranch has been burned, and his wife's been raped, and his horse has been shot, and his dog's been fucked in the ass. Goddamn, he finally gets a chance to get even, and the people want to see that, and so they get off on that. So the heel bumps are somewhat more exaggerated, but not cartoony, just bigger, broader.
Okay. A lot of times...
Sometimes cartoony, but I don't know about that.
A lot of time on the indies now, we have two guys that are basically baby faces. What can two baby faces do against each other so one doesn't really end up losing his credibility as a baby face or inadvertently ends up turning heel or anything like that?
Well, once again, it depends, because I don't care what you do in a match unless you rip a guy's balls off with your teeth or stick your thumb in his eye and come up and, with an eyeball and eat it. The thing is, in a babyface match, it's going to be bland. Unless you've got two of the top babyfaces in the business. Jack Briscoe, Dory Funk Jr., they could go 60 minutes, and Dory would make those little subtle gestures. He'd shoot the elbow in there, or do the old Lou Thez deal, or whatever, and people go, oh, shit. But that just made Briscoe more of a babyface, but at the same time, they could respect Dory because he was a great wrestler, he was a world champion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It depends on the baby faces. Once again, it depends on their personality. It depends on how they've been used, how they've been pushed, how they've been presented and promoted. But let's say that you have two guys that are just pretty well equal standing baby faces. If they're wrestling, they ought to be wrestling for something, first of all. If they're just having a match against each other, it's poor booking, because why? Why do you want to split your audience up? And why do you want to give these guys the task of going out and having a match there's not going to be a lot of reaction to, because some people are going to want Joe to win, some people are going to want Sam to win, but the people who want Sam to win don't really hate Joe, and the people who want Joe to win don't really hate Sam, so they're just going to kind of sit there, and they'll clap on the pretty moves. But let's maybe say that this is Joe's night, and he's doing a little bit better than Sam. So Sam starts getting frustrated, because after all, it's a contest. They're wrestling for something, whether it be a title or money or a spot or whatever. Joe's looking good. Sam can't get a hold of him. He can't find him. He's looking for air, oxygen, or opportunity, one or the other. And finally, maybe on the break, he gives him the show. God damn, and the referee goes, now, don't you goddamn do that. Hey, fuck it. I'm getting frustrated here. Now people go, ooh. Well, then Joe, naturally, because he's like, hey, cocksucker, I went to your wedding. Come here. I'll fucking punch. Now tempers are flaring. Now they got to calm them down, right? Referee calms them down. Okay. Happens again. Boom, another shot on break, whatever. God damn it. Now you've got the people in the babyface match, just because the guy that they like that's not cheating is balling up his fist and chasing the other guy, and if the other guy's putting it over like, oh shit, I better get out of here because he realizes I fucked up. Oh, god damn, I know him, he's mad. Now they're just chasing each other around. One guy's trying to hit the other guy's trying to keep him from hitting him, and you got people going, oh yeah, hit him. So then the one guy gets a little rougher, and the other guy gets a little bit of a comeback, but at the same time, I always tell the guys, as long as they stay away from the eyes, the ears, and the balls, you're not really turning heel, you're just getting frustrated. So bing, 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 the match is over, it's a draw, this guy goes over, that guy goes over, whatever. As long as they come up and they look at each other, and the guy that was getting frustrated, if he lost, if he draws back, or if he won, then he looks like that, like, well, maybe I should have done it, and they look at each other, and they milk it. Of course, now people are so jaded, now one of them's going to turn. No, they just reach over and shake hands, and goddamn one guy raises the other guy's hand and fucking hug, They're baby faces. One guy got mad. He lost his temper. You ever play basketball with somebody where you lost your temper because that guy could fucking actually play basketball and you were a white man that couldn't fucking jump and you were getting your ass kicked? You're like, God damn it, but afterwards you still don't hate the guy. He's your friend. But during the process of a competition, tempers will flare. So, once again, the guys overanalyze that. This will turn me heel. This will make me babyface. Well, if the booking's right and the match is right, no, it'll just be a nice thing for people to watch, and then you get out of it. Good writing, great writing, cannot overcome bad talent. Great talent cannot overcome bad writing. However, it's easier. Talent is the most important part in this business. Booking is very important, but not as important as talent. Because, like I said, it's a whole lot easier for great talent to overcome bad booking than it is for great booking to overcome bad talent. So if it's the proper thing in the proper place, you're all right.
Off camera, there you just mentioned there's something that you wanted to talk about. What is it?
Well, it's an analogy I give to a lot of the guys. There is this many people that are going to come to see anything in a wrestling ring. They're going to come see anybody in boots and tights in a wrestling ring, no matter. That's that many people. They're hardcore. They're on the internet. They want to come because either they can't get enough wrestling or they want to bitch and complain about something and say how they can do it better. Whatever. That's right there. This crowd likes good wrestling. Remember I said not old wrestling or new wrestling or this kind of good wrestling. There's two kinds of wrestling, good wrestling and bad wrestling. I don't care who presents it or what it is. That's this crowd. That's the second crowd. They want to see good wrestling, and if you present a good product for a extended period of time to where it gets the point across, they will come to see you. This crowd comes to see the star, comes to see the big event, WrestleMania, The Rock, Steve Austin. Either somebody really gets hot like Hulk Hogan 2 decades ago, or The Rock and Austin in the late 90s, or whatever, or WrestleMania is hot. That's that crowd where they're not, I don't care what you do, they're not going to come all the time. And they're not going to watch every week, but they know it's around, and that's the third group. That's the people that will come for the big shows or the big stars. Everybody else in the world is in the fourth group. They don't give two flying fucks. You could put Dumbo the Pink Elephant and, a Chinese fire drill in the ring. They don't give a shit because it's wrestling and they don't want to see it. They want to see ballet, fly fish, and I don't give a fuck what else. You ain't going to get them. So you've always got these people, okay? And I'm not saying you should shit on them because they're your ticket purchasing patrons, but you've always got these people. If you have a good product, you got group number 2. Concentrate on that. There's really no way you can control group number 3 because how do you just say, okay, this guy's going to be the next Rock, this guy's going to be the next Steve Austin, or next Hulk Hogan, next Ric Flair. You can't do that. They got to come along. That's when you get the really big houses, record gates, whatever the fuck. And then the fourth group, who gives a flying fuck what you people want to see? If you're going to goddamn ballet, fuck you, because we're doing wrestling. And the people who try to say, well, we're going to give people who don't like wrestling something to watch. They got something to watch. It's on all the other fucking stations while your program is on, you dumb son of a bitch. So what? Why do you do shit that's not related in any way to wrestling in a wrestling program? They don't stop Saturday Night Live to have Kurt Gowdy give the goddamn fucking Olympic freestyle skiing fucking report. Because the people watching Saturday Night Live don't give two fucks about the goddamn Olympic freestyle skating. So, why is all I'm saying. You got these. If you're good, you get these. When you're lucky, you get these. And the rest of them, it don't make a fuck because they ain't coming anyway. That's my point.
All right. One thing that you've touched on, and I want you to explain a little bit more now, is listening to the crowd. Number one, the importance of it, and number two, how you do it.
Well, it's most important because, once again, if you're in any kind of entertainment, sports is different in this instance because if you're in sports, your object is to make a touchdown or to make a basket or to hit a home run or whatever. It don't matter what the crowd is doing. But any kind of entertainment, you got to listen to your fans because if Mick gets out there and he sings Jumpin' Jack Flash and for some reason the Stones are blowing that night, he's going to tell because people are going to be like, yeah, okay, yeah. But if they're on, they're going to be, fuck it, here go the babies, right? Every time that I would be in a, any kind of match, really, but especially on the big ones, and a babyface would nail me, or I'd whack somebody with a racket, or I'd be involved in something. It's easy to listen to the crowd when you're not actually being beat up or involved in the thing. You're standing out there going, yeah, this is getting over. But you can always tell if they wanted to see you get punched, because when you get nailed and people blow, that was a good thing. They wanted to see you get your head knocked off. But guys now are so, I say guys now, I'm sorry because I'm old, back in the days of black and white, I was really over it. But a lot of guys who are really nervous and really not confident and sure of themselves, they're so concentrating on what they're doing and what they're trying to do and what they want to do that they don't listen to the people. And so if you do something that people ain't reacting to and you keep doing it because that's what you plan to do and you're not listening to them, then you're just stinking it out even further. And by the same token, if you do something that really gets over with the people but you didn't notice it because you weren't listening to them, then you never do it again, or you don't, you miss a golden opportunity. It's in finishes, when the people are reacting, you've got to know exactly when they're coming down, because you got to do the next thing. For example, let's say that you're going to make the hot tag. Kerry's going to give you the hot tag. You're going to make the comeback on me and Bobby Eaton. He gives you the hot tag. The people blow. You nail me. You nail Bobby. You nail me. You nail Bobby. Then you look at the people and you give me a bionic elbow. Bam! And I take a big bump. They love that. They love that so much that Bobby is supposed to come and cut you off. But if you go bam and I take a bump and they're just starting to go and Bobby cuts you off like that from behind and you go down, then the people go, yeah, oh shit. Killed your pop. Squashed it. Sat right on it. So you'll give me boom and I'll take the big fucking bump, boom, and I'll fucking sit there and flip like I'm in convulsions, and you'll go, I told you I was going to give you that motherfucker, and wait for them to start coming down. Because when they start coming down, then Bobby Eaton will come from behind and nail you with the deal. So they're coming, ooh, oh, ready for the next thing. There's a highlight, there's a spotlight, especially in tag team finishes, on each thing, even if it's only for 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. People's attention can't be split, can't be diverted. You can't watch over here and over there at the same time and do the, fuck, dizzy, right? So it has to be, boom, this guy, slam, turns around, oh, he drop kicked him, oh shit, wait a minute, here comes this guy, grabs him in a headlock, shoots him off, bam, double knockout with the referee, referee flew to the floor, oh shit, there's the referee on the floor, back in the ring, oh, that guy just got hit, it has to go from place to place to place to place to place so you don't split their attention, but at the same time the finish has to go bang, 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 so there's no lag time in between. We used to do on the Midnight Express tapes, which I'm sure you'll be offering for sale very soon here on this very television station. We used to do finishes where we would get 5, 6, 7, 8 minute cues to go, because we would need that much time to go into this thing, to tell this story, whatever it may be, and at the same time not rush it. Now, guys are so anxious not to screw anything up or not to miss anything that as soon as this guy falls to the floor, immediately this guy's leveling this guy with a baseball bat, and here comes the guy with the weed eater, and here comes the guy with the rototiller. What the fuck's going on? I don't know. Shit, it's all over the place. Ethel, and then now here's the most important part. You hear buzzes in the crowd, right? When people start murmuring, conversation, you know what that is?
It's not good.
That's hey Ethel. I don't care if it's in the first part of the match, middle part of the match, end part of the match. When all of a sudden something happens in the ring that's just totally screwy, and you hear the people, I'm Fred, okay, and Ethel's my wife, and I either looked down to get my popcorn, or I was looking over here at the goddamn girl with the big tits that I wish Ethel had over there in the front row, and for a second I missed something, and I turn around and I go, hey Ethel, what the fuck just happened? Would you shut up, Fred? I'm trying to watch the fucking match. Well, listen, don't goddamn give me lip. I'm just asking you what's going on over there? We don't know, because now we're over here, right? Same thing when somebody misses a spot and makes it blatantly obvious, or somebody does something that just violates the rules of common sense or credulity, I always tell the guys, our job here is to make the unbelievable believable. Our job here is to make the preposterous posterous, right? Well, when something happens that's just totally fucking stupid, right? And old Fred turns to Ethel and goes, did you see that? Or why did that happen? Or what's going on here? Or what? And then they start fucking mouthing off. That's all over the whole arena. That's what that is. That's people talking to each other, either laughing at the stupid thing they just saw or trying to get somebody next to them to explain it. Then you've lost it. Then you might as well grab a chinlock, sit down, and read the fucking morning news, because it's going to be a while till all these little separate conversations get resolved and they turn back around and look at your match again. How about the guys who take a guy, pick him up, and body slam him in the 20-foot ring, right? They body slam him 3 feet from this turnbuckle. And then they immediately go to that turnbuckle and climb up on top so they can come off the top, right? Well, now how the fuck do I know, because I'm Karnak the Magnificent or I'm some kind of mind reader, when I slam the guy this 17 feet from this turnbuckle, how do I know to go over there and climb that top rope? How do I know that he's going to stand up? If I could do it, I would, but we have a small area here. Actually, we're in a closet. I believe later I'll be held for ransom, put a bag over my head, and somebody will piss on me or something. But anyway, how did I know that this guy was going to stand up and glassy-eyed and rubber-legged wander over to that corner where I could jump off on him? I don't fucking know. You're looking at me with a blank look. That's why all those people in the arena are too. How the fuck did that motherfucker know he could go over there and jump off the top? It don't make sense. Like on South Park, right? Johnny Cochran, the lawyer. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Look at the pretty monkey. Okay? It don't make sense. And that's when people go, oh, fuck. Tom Zink, Z-Man, on a live Clash of Champions one time, it was hilarious. He looked like he tried to commit suicide. The spot was, he was going to slam whoever over here. He was going to run to those turnbuckles, leap up, come off the buckle with a turnaround crossbody, and it was going to be beautiful because he was a great athlete. But the problem was, this dumb motherfucker he slammed forgot to get up and come over there. So he slammed him, ran to that turnbuckle, jumped up, and dove off in midair and just fucking crashed in the middle of the ring. He wasn't 10 feet from his opponent. And people go, well, that's a dumb motherfucker right there. Pay attention. Listen to the people. Don't do anything off kilter, and don't set things up that obviously foretell that you know what you're supposed to be doing, and the other guy knows what you're supposed to be doing for no reason.
Okay, now,
boy, that took a long time to say that, and very it could have been done much more succinctly.
From a wrestler's perspective, how do you listen to the crowd? You have the spots going on in your
Generally, I use my ears. I actually tried it up my nose one time, but I had a cold that day and I couldn't really hear a goddamn thing. No, it's when you're driving. When you're driving, if you drive 15 miles, how many times you look in the rearview mirror?
Every 20 seconds or so.
Oh, well, yeah, I've ridden with you. You got to try every 10. You don't know. It's second nature. It's second nature. You don't really say, okay, now I'm going to listen to the crowd. You hear them. While you're doing your shit, you hear them. It's second nature. You don't listen to them. You just hear them. If you're concentrating so hard on what you're doing or trying to do that you block out all other senses, smell and taste and hearing or whatever the fuck, no, you don't. I've had, especially the guys that just begin tell me, well, I didn't hear any goddamn thing. I'd be screaming at them. I've refereed some matches with some of the guys. I'd be screaming at them, do this. I don't know what. Hit him, push me, kick me. Somehow I grabbed one guy and turned him around to the shoulder and said, read my lips if you're deaf, hit me. Because they're goddamn, they're scared to death. I'm on TV. Oh shit, people are watching. Goddamn, there's witnesses. Relax. They can't eat you. They cannot eat you. When you go to the ring, they cannot cook you, put you on a barbecue, cut you up with a knife, take a fork and eat you. If they can't do that, what's the worst that can happen? Have a stinky fucking match. It's been done before. Repeatedly.
All right, looking at managing now, which I guess this can also apply to seconds and valets. Well, what's the role of the manager or second or whatever it happens to be these days?
I don't know shit from apple butter about what the role is these days.
For instance, how
the art has somewhat been lost. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for instance, how can you add to the match without taking away from what the guys are doing in the ring?
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, that's easy. You time your spots. You augment the match. The manager is supposed to talk the people into the building or help talk them in. The manager is supposed to interfere in the finish. The manager is supposed to really get people riled up when the guys come to the ring. But when they're having their match, if it's arm drag and hip toss, double atomic drop, and double knockout in the middle of the ring, and down they go, boom, 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 then I should just be reacting to what's going on. Because even if there's 3 people in the building watching me, if I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm waiting for my next spot with a stone face while my guys are getting beat up or beating somebody up, then those 3 people know, well, okay, there's something going on here. But if my guys are beating somebody up and I'm going, yeah, get it, yeah, beautiful, yeah, I'm a cheerleader, right? I should be. They're my guys. I want to see them win. If they're getting their ass handed to them, oh, shit, fuck, jeez. For those 3 people that might, for some reason, possibly they lead very empty lives and they're watching me instead of the match. So at least they're going, yeah, fuck, boy, he's really upset. It makes it phony if you don't do that. But then now, in a match, invariably, for every spot and bing, bing, bing and big bump and all that stuff, there's also the part where there comes the chin lock or there comes the headlock or whatever. There's my time to fucking scream at the referee or to attract some attention to me so that also, while they're in the headlock and somebody's going, okay, one tackle, drop down, hip toss, move on the elbow, get it again, whatever, people are not watching them do that. They're watching me yell at the referee. They're watching me yell at the people in the front row. Don't be saying that shit you're saying. Whatever. As soon as they're in motion again, then I should be back watching intently because the match is the thing. And once again, a manager can be chased around the ring. I've had my shoes pulled off. I've had my pants pulled off. I've had all my clothes pulled off, and that was just in the Ring of Honor offices. I've had all kinds of shit done to me. I've been hit over the head with things, faces and cake. You can do all kinds of stuff because that way you don't have to do it to the wrestlers. The Midnight Express were not stripped or embarrassed or humiliated. Jim Cornette was. I always feel like the manager should not only be the funny one in terms of saying, and I was the funny guy in wrestling, right? I was the one told all the jokes. Then when all wrestling got funny, I was the only one that got serious. I had to, because before I was the only one doing funny. When everybody started doing funny, okay, motherfuckers, I'll do serious. But the manager can be the funny one without taking heat off his guys. They're not getting dressed in a dress, I am. They're not getting their head shaved, I am. They're not getting tarred and feathered, I am. So they keep their heat and they try to save me and they come back and try to get even and I'm screaming, God damn, I'm your boss, I pay you, I'll give you any amount of money, kill those motherfuckers did that to me. So you can do stuff to the manager without taking heat off the wrestlers. And in matches, once again at ringside, to close up on your question, if I'm going to interfere in the match, I need to get in and get out. I need to do it behind the referee's back. I never take my eye off the referee. Because if the referee sees me, I expect him in an OVW, I tell this. If the referee sees an automatic disqualification, whether it be an over-the-top rope or a pile driver or somebody interfering, if he don't call it, I'm going to hit the ring and beat his ass. Because the referee is the authority. If the people don't believe in the referee, if the people think it's all just bullshit, that's why I couldn't stand that ECW-ish type of thing, and I hate all this modern wrestling where people just come in that are not involved in the match, run in and do shit, and the referee's standing there, and here comes a chair. Why is a chair in the ring? Is it a no DQ match? Well, if it's not a no DQ match, why didn't somebody get disqualified? Because if you don't have any rules, you can't break the rules. If you can't break the rules, you can't get any heat on somebody. Because if there are no rules, you're not a heel for taking a chainsaw and cutting a dog's head off. So that's a manager has to get in and get out and interfere, not be seen by the referee, boom, 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 but not distract from the overall match, augment it. And that's, once again, the pace of some of these matches these days and the way that people come in and out and back and forth. If I'm a first-time viewer, I think every match should be constructed so that A wrestling fan can enjoy it and not only understand it, but understand the subtleties. But a first-time viewer that's just clicking the channels can go, oh, shit. And he knows one guy's trying to beat the other guy. You don't have to explain to him or have graphics on the screen, well, this guy actually is allowed to use a chair because of so-and-so and such, and, you know, these people are allowed to run in, and who's responsible for this? What's the referee doing? He's just standing there. I talk to my dentist a lot. My dentist watches our show because he's my dentist, but he's not a huge wrestling fan, so he asks the questions that a lot of casual fans will ask. Well, now, wait a minute. Why were those two guys yelling at each other like that, but they didn't fight? Good question. Why didn't they fucking fight that night? Maybe I did it wrong. Anyway.
Okay. Switching over to tag team wrestling now. Is the psychology of tag team wrestling pretty much the same as singles wrestling?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. And you know, and once again, now, they're asking me questions here, folks, like I just came down from the Sermon on the Mount with these stone tablets. As Ole Anderson said to me, Cornette, I used to think you were a dumb fuck, but so many other dumb fucks have come along that are worse than you. You moved up the ladder without doing anything. I'm not Eddie Graham. I'm not Bill Watts. I'm not Dusty Rhodes. I'm not Jerry Jarrett. But, geez, since they're not sitting here, I guess I'm the best you got. There are similarities and there are differences. A singles match needs to go more back and forth. You don't get necessarily, because you don't get the pure baby faces using their teamwork to overcome the heels and frustrate them, and then the heels having to resort to, you know, these illegal tactics and in and out and back and forth and behind the referee's back. In a singles match, you can't do as much behind the referee's back because there's nobody to distract. Even if there's a manager, still there's nobody on the other side to come in, blah, blah, blah. So it's a little more back and forth, but there's a lot of similarities.
What would you say are some of the most perfect tag teams that you've had a chance to work with, and what made them a perfect tag team?
I mean, obviously we made more money than anybody else with the Rock and Roll Express because they were one of the, except for the Fabulous Ones, and we never worked with the Fabulous Ones, believe it or not. The Midnight Express, when it was Bob Eaton and Dennis Condrey, never worked with the Fabs, and we just never in the same place. But after the Fabs, the Rock and Roll were the first MTV-style babyface team, but whereas the Fabs were more kick-ass guys because they were bigger for the time, and they didn't sell as much, and they were more male modelish. You know, there's Ricky and Robert who are babyface at the time. I mean, look at the 80s music videos. You know, Ricky and Robert looked like the average guy walking down the street. As ludicrous as it may seem to some people who were born in the 80s, yes, the bandanas and the long hair was over, folks. Watch a Poison video every now and then. Ricky Morton could sell his ass off unlike anybody ever. He could take a classic ass whooping. He could engender sympathy. He could make you believe that he was being tortured. And Robert Gibson, to be honest, was there to take that tag and clean house. It didn't have the same dynamic when you got the heat on Robert and gave the tag to Ricky. Both of them filled their spot perfectly. The Rock and Roll were a great team because of that. They were underdogs. They didn't have to be strong and kick ass and destroy people to get over. They did it because they were likable and they were feisty and they were underdogs. Fantastics, there wasn't, I think actually Bobby and Tommy were more interchangeable in their parts, and it didn't hurt to match because they were both underdogs, and there wasn't a real big size difference. But what great workers, what great athletes, and they both could sell. The Southern Boys we had great matches with because Tracy's mother, Steve Armstrong, we got him over in Baltimore. On these the Midnight Express tapes you'll see, and I'm not saying that we're responsible for their success. I'm saying that when you take the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys with stars and bars, Confederate flag on their ass, and waving the flag and send them into Baltimore, that's a recipe for destruction. You know, better you should send, you know, like Louis Farrakhan to a Nazi meeting than send the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys to Baltimore. But the people there believed in the Midnight Express. The Southern Boys were just coming in, and they farted on them. But then all four guys had such a great match that at the end they gave them a standing ovation because they saw they were talented and they could look past the regional gimmick. Gosh, we had so many good matches with different kinds of tag teams. Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, I wish so much that we'd had a chance to run that thing for 6 months. Because we had maybe 6 or 7 arena matches with them and nothing on television before they ended up leaving and going to the WWF. But the matches were tear the roof off the place type of matches because it was really 4 excellent workers, doing what they could do. And then me and JJ stand outside going, okay, he had a shoe, I had a tennis racket, and we're watching them. We're having fun too. But there were a lot of teams you could have. One good thing about an old-fashioned, especially an old-fashioned Southern heel team, they could change the kind of match they had and change their style to fit the opponent. We wouldn't have the same match with the Road Warriors as we did with the Rock and Roll Express, as we did with the Fantastics, as we did with the Southern Boys, as we did with Brian Pillman and Z-Man, as we did with Bill Watts and Junkyard Dog, as we did with, whoever. Because the heels, especially in those days, were responsible in a lot of part for leading the match, and the idea was to get the babyface over. Actually get the match over. Dennis Condrey always said this, and you ask him about this, get the match over. Because a lot of guys are just worried about getting their own stuff in and them looking good. Well, you know what? Transfer this to Hollywood. Who's a great actor these days? I'd say Laurence Olivier, and nobody was even born by the time he died if he's dead. Say again now? Leonardo DiCaprio. Is he a great actor? Is he just...
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. There you go. De Niro, Pacino. They've made some really stinky fucking movies. Not a lot, but some. And people remember, well, there was goddamn a stinky fucking movie. But if a great actor is in a great movie and everything gets over, then they start winning Academy Awards. Who's the last person that won an Academy Award for a great performance in a box office stinker? Can you think of any? I can't. I'm not prepared. Point is, get the match over and the people will remember, I saw the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express in a great match. Not, I saw the Midnight Express in a match with, Tom and Bill, and boy, it pretty well fucking sucked, but the Midnight Express got their shit in. The fuck? If the match stinks, it don't matter whether you got your shit in or not because it still stunk. And we've had some stinkers because things just didn't line up right, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Get the match over. Don't get your shit in.
Okay. Let's look at gimmick matches. How should a gimmick, for instance, like a no-rope barbed wire match or a steel cage match, how should the gimmick in the match be used to get the most out of using the gimmick?
Well, in a no-rope barbed wire match, first thing they need to do is not book me. Cause
that was, let's say, a bullwhip match. That was a bad example for
well, no. Actually, the first barbed wire matches I ever saw were in late 79, early 80s in Tennessee. What they would do is they'd leave the ring just like it was, and they would wrap barbed wire around the ring posts. So you could use the whole ring, and then when you grabbed the guy and took him and leaned him out and tried to rub his face in the barbed wire, people went crazy, right? There's barbed wire around the ring post. You've got that far from the barbed wire to the ropes, and then you got all the inside of the ring. But you can't get out. Oh, you try to go out. Oh, shit, I'm going to cut myself. Oh, golly. Oh, jeez. Oh, and a little blood and everything. Now, there's goddamn big old rolls of barbed wire in the fucking ring with no ropes. The barbed wire out on the floor. People being slammed and suplexed into it. People sitting there going, ooh, that was cool. What are they going to do next? People bleeding like they've been run through razor blade factories. Do not demean your gimmicks. Don't cheapen your gimmicks. If you've got a taped fist match, then don't punch the guy 74 fucking times with a taped fist. Wrestle, work, tape fist, brass knucks, coal miner's glove, whatever. Wrestle, work, go to do it, guy ducks, can't get a clear shot. Bam! First time he nail him, he's either bleeding or he's goofy or he gets knocked to the floor or whatever. Use your gimmicks. With a coal miner's glove match, which isn't even seen anymore these days. They didn't climb the pole, get the glove with the metal-studded knuckles, and hit the guy 17 fucking times. He should be dead. What is this sledgehammer business, for God's sake? Give me a sledgehammer. Let me hit fucking bad boy down at the gym, 6'9", 330 fucking pounds. Let me get one shot, me. Flabby fucking pasty white with a fucking sledgehammer. I'll hit that motherfucker. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. Keep it believable. Use your gimmicks. Don't cheapen your gimmicks. If it's a bull rope match, what's the object? My left wrist to your left wrist. You can't get away from me. I can't get away from you. There's a bell in the middle we can hit each other with. Pull each other around, choke, through the crotch, with the belt, whatever. But the guys now would take the fucking belt and take it off and shove it up the guy's ass and let him fucking run around the ring tingling fucking jingle bells. And that'd be for a goddamn high spot. That wouldn't even be the finish. Give me some more matches.
Dog collar.
Dog collar. Say what now?
Lumberjack match. Dog collar.
Lumberjack match. Lumberjack match. The object of the lumberjack match is that everybody's around the ring because these two guys have a grudge, and one of them is going to bail. We know it, that heel's going to bail unless all those guys are there to throw him back in. But is it fair if only one guy's friends are there? So you bring everybody's friends. So now, once again, if you have a lumberjack match and the first time somebody takes a bump out on the floor, immediately every lumberjack comes over there and gets in a goddamn big Hey Rube, a big Donnybrook, everybody's punching, beating everybody. You've seen it. So first the guy tries to fucking bail and see, oh shit, I've gone to the wrong side. Oh shit, jumps back in, then goes to the other side. I'm here with my friends. But as he jumps out with his friends, here come the other guys, and he, oh shit. And as they start to get a little skirmish, he rolls back in where the guy takes over again, bing, bing, bing. And you don't get in the big schmoz till the end. All I'm saying is, with any gimmick, make it mean something. Don't cheapen it. Don't overdo it. Don't hit a guy 17 fucking times with the same thing and not kill him. You know, a baseball bat. Once again, I'm very sparing. Every once in a while I have a baseball bat. Usually a gut shot, usually just to chase the guy off, or if somebody's a really good worker, every once in a while you go for the head shot but one. Because who's going to get hit in the head twice with a baseball bat? I mean, except for post-mortem. People don't believe. If a motherfucker comes out with a baseball bat and is chasing people around and people are running, screaming for their fucking lives and, oh my God, he's going to kill me, that's excitement. Once you hit the motherfucker once, maybe he takes a big-ass bump over the top or he fucking shot in the boom and off he goes. That's excitement. Hit him, boom, over the back of the head, boom, drive it. Now, and also, who takes a baseball bat by the goddamn end and does this shit? I did it with a tennis racket because actually there really is no accepted way to hit a motherfucker with a tennis racket. I pretty well invented that. So we can do like that, we can do like that, we can do whatever we want. But with a baseball bat, you're pretty well going to hit the motherfucker, right? Hit him 5 times, people are going, oh, fuck. Because it don't make sense. But everybody's trying to go one further. Everybody's trying to do something better. Everybody's trying to get, I'm going to get myself over. I'm going to hit the son of a bitch 7 times with a baseball bat with nails sticking out of it. Well, then you're a big fucking pussy if he ain't dead. If I'm invited to the funeral next week, you're over. Otherwise, fuck you. It's stupid.
All right, how about like a title match, like a world title match? What can a guy do in a world title match to make that separate or stand apart from like a regular match?
Keep his mouth shut and his ears open and listen to everything the champion tells him. Because the champion wouldn't be the champion unless he knew what he was doing, in most cases. This is one of those that the times may have changed because there's so many title matches now. And fans my age and people that were fans when I was a kid, they could remember the dates and places and times and cities that every title changed hands in. You could go from Pat O'Connor, Gene Kaniski, Dory Funk Jr., to Harley Race, to Jack Briscoe, blah, 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 and quote it. And now titles change so often that you can't keep track of it. It doesn't have the same meaning. But when I was a kid and I got a chance to see a world title match, it was once a year that I'd see it live. And I'm like, wow. And I mean, even to the point where a lot of the people who were kind of smart, and there was nobody smart in those days like there is now. The first time I ever heard the phrase high spot, I was in Memphis TV dressing room for my first day as manager. That's the first time I ever heard the phrase high spot. Because there was no internet, there were no newsletters, and that shit didn't get repeated. So people would say, say what you want to, but those world title now, those things are on the level, because even people who were smart. So you worked it a little more seriously. You obviously the champion was always a guy who could work with anybody, or most time was, and it was presented more as a prestigious deal. You never saw it on television. You always had to go to the arenas. Now it'd be the equivalent of pay-per-view. I hate when there's free world title matches on television because, Matt Morgan, the OVW champion this year, I think he went 4 months without wrestling, but maybe once on television. because he's the champion. And we were doing our Six Flags shows. And he would come out and not use these words because we'd been kicked off the air, but basically he'd say, you motherfuckers have to pay to see me Friday night at Six Flags because I'm the champion and I'm too good to wrestle on television. But I will take John Cena or Nick Dinsmore or Big Bad John or Chris Benoit or whoever it may be, and I'll show them why they call me the Blueprint. And he would talk them into the building. You know, they pay to see the champion. Things are more television oriented now. People are, getting rights fees for television, so of course you got to change with the times. But still, title matches should always, I think, be protected as a little something a little more special, a little more serious. Only with people. I mean, if I have my champion wrestling, that's just the OVW champion. He's champion of the Ohio Valley. Jeez, I get what's next? The Poughkeepsie heavyweight champion, But at the same time, if he wrestles on television, it's either in a title match against a top contender, or it's in a non-title match, because how does Josephus out of the barn here get a title match? If it's real, if it's something prestigious that people should want and go for and fight for and want to possess, then how does the fourth guy from the bottom of your babyface, roster get a title match? Because you want to have a title match on TV. Well, fuck. Big shit. People are going, we don't give a fuck, so it's a title match. The guy ain't going to win, so you're just devaluing your title matches.
How about within the match? What should guys do within the match to make the title more important? Or should there be like more pinfalls, for instance, or more false finishes, or does that depend on what kind of champion it is?
Well, it does, but also, it's not necessarily, there always should be a lot of false finishes, especially toward the end, a guy trying to win, whether it be the heel on top trying to put the babyface away because he figures he's in trouble and he's got to do it quick, or the babyface gets a second lease on life, and he's really putting the pressure on the guy to get the people on the edge of their seat. Is he going to win? Is he going to win? Is he going to win? Especially if you're going to pull the rug out from under him. But that's for any great main event match. It doesn't necessarily have to be confined to a title match. And I just think that, when I would go back and watch Harley Race or Ric Flair, or actually even before that, Jack Briscoe for the Style of the Day, those were the epitome of title matches. And those guys really knew how to do things right. And if you can go back 50 years and say Lou Thez, the style has changed, but the champion should always have a little bit more aura.
Okay. Looking at the pacing of the match, something that I read in the notes, which you give out to the OVW students, is how, for instance, Windham and Flair used to bring the crowd up and down like a yo-yo. Could you explain that for the people?
Well, you might even want to put in a clip, of one of those Flair Windham matches, because there was a point, I can't even remember the exact spot, but there's a point where Windham just starts firing back, boom, boom, and Flair's rocking, and boom, and all of a sudden in desperation there's a headlock, and I think he shoots him off and a tackle and a drop down, and goes for a clothesline, and Windham comes off the other side with a crossbody, and they both go over to the top rope together. So you've got all of a sudden, boom, 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 and they start coming alive, and now they're running. People go, oh shit, where's this going to end up? Crossbody over the top rope, poof. And they go, holy shit, and now both guys are down on the floor. Now they got to start crawling back in together. They're not out there wasting time. They gave the people a chance to go, holy fuck, thought he had him then. Whatever. You hear the people in the arena get as far as they can go, and once they're all the way up here screaming, they do something to bring them down, but not just grab a hold, where people go, pfft. They did a big thing that registered, pfft. How can they top that? They can't. So now let's rest. Now the people are breathing. Now they're climbing back in. Now they're going to go do something else. A lot of times with the Midnight Express matches, what we would do is, if I was going to get nailed by the babyface, that would be the spot right before we get the heat. Because the babyfaces would look good, boom, 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 and I'd get more frustrated, and they'd get more frustrated, and finally we'd get into something where they chased me, I'd run in, double knockout, or I'd be up, and they'd bonk them and nail me, boom, and down I'd go, and I'd be on the floor, and once I got hit. So now remember this, when your managers, or your girls, or your referees, or your announcers, or your seconds, or whoever, non-wrestlers, when they get in a fight, it naturally gets more reaction than the wrestlers, because not necessarily they're more over, but they see 20 wrestlers beat the piss out of each other every night that they go to wrestling. but the manager only takes a bump or two, or the girl only takes a bump or two, or the announcer only takes a bump every so often, or the referee's only getting a fight once in a great while. So that's more special. So you can have, you can have that go on if you don't overdo it, and it gets over. So anyway, point being, bam, when a manager gets pickled, yeah, he finally saw that too. That's as high as they can get. So now let's get to heat. So bing, 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 bing. Shit happens. I'm calming the Midnight Express down. Finally, they hug. All is forgiven. I turn around and say, hey, shut up, you people. The Babyfaces come over, grab them, double head bonk. They split around. I turn around, boom, nail me off the apron. Down I go on the floor. Ricky turns around, gets a headlock on Bobby. Bobby fires him off the other side, drops down. I'm staggering up there, the racket in my hand. The referee's looking elsewhere. Bam! Crack him in the back with a racket. Whoosh! Now we pulled the rug out from under him. Now people are like, yeah! Oh, fuck! Now we get the heat. Now, once again, you got him going, you got him going, you got him going. You can't put him away. First thing, you can't, if you've really got the people going, you don't want to go in the finish right there because they're already up here. They can only go here. So, boom, you got him going. Now you get ready to go. Grab a chin lock. Let him start to fight out. Boom, boom, boom. Make the tag. Slam. Rocket launcher. Boom. 1, 2. Shit, he kicked out or he raised his shoulder. Oh my God, that's our finish. How'd he do that? People are up. Oh shit. Grab him. Bobby tag Stan. Bobby tag Dennis. Bobby tag somebody. Shoot him off. Flapjack. Boom. Goddamn cover. 1, 2. Hoot makes a save. Bam. Holy shit. Referee's putting Gibson out. Bobby grabs a fucking headlock. Ricky fires him off. Ricky drops down. The other Midnight guys coming in. Bam! Bobby or Dennis, Bobby or Stan. Boom, they have a double knockout. Ricky goes to the neutral corner. Now the people are going, tag, Ricky, tag, you got to tag. Both heels get up. They both charge. Ricky rolls between them to the middle of the ring. Dives, makes the tag to Robert out of nowhere. He could have never got that, but he got it. Whoosh! That's what they call a hot tag. An iceberg tag, where all the fingers fall off because of frostbite, is what you see a lot of times on TV these days, where one guy will be laying about this far from his corner and the other guy will be laying about that far from his corner, and they'll both reach up and just tag at the same time. If it's not a surprise, if the people can see that you can physically possibly reach your partner and make a tag, it ain't a hot tag, because it ain't a surprise. They know you're going to do it. As a matter of fact, they're wondering why it took you so long to fucking do it. You're laying right there, you dumb shit. There's people been in car wrecks can do that. So you're a fucking idiot. But if you're over in the neutral corner and there's two guys closing in on you, you got to roll this way, down that way. Oh shit, he got it. Fuck. Democracy is saved. That's a hot tag. So you build the momentum leading into the hot tag and the comeback like that, and then when they blow, then all the guy comes in and makes a comeback, boom, 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 and you go wherever you're going. But if both guys are laying there like this, and they reach up, tag, tag, here comes two new guys. Well, if it's two guys people want to see, they'll cheer. Oh, two new guys in. What the fuck were we doing for the last 15 minutes trying to build this goddamn point up when all of a sudden it's like, tag, tag, yay! Fuck. Sorry.
So,
I digress.
Looking at the pacing of longer matches, it's pretty much building to that payoff and then starting over pretty much and then building to the next payoff?
Yeah, well, you don't really start over. You can keep it going if you've got it going good. But, for example, when you get a set of false heat on one guy, we do this a lot of times, change the thing up. Or if you're in a six-man where you want to have a couple of sets of heat so you can get a couple of comebacks out of it, the false heat, are you familiar with that? The false heat, for those of you people out there who have wasted your money on this episode, is if you get one of the baby faces down and you start kicking shit out of him long enough to convince the people he's the one you're getting the heat on. Then you let him make the tag where the other guy has a comeback, and when people are starting to go, yeah, we're liking this, but boy, this was a short son of a bitch. Boom, you get that guy and you get the real heat on him, and now they don't know where the fuck you're going. And then if you do enough back and forth false finishes in the end, like the Midnight Southern Boys match was great because boom, it looked like we were going to win, then it looked like they were going to win, then it looked like we were going to win, then it looked like they were going to win, and then finally something happens. Then that's when you get them going back and forth, yo-yo, yo-yo, yo-yo. And plus, when you can work in cliche finishes as false finishes, that's good too, because everybody now thinks they're smart, so they know the double backdrop sunset flip routine, or the this finish or that finish. Well, one time, I'm trying to think when it was. Jeez. It was on a Dennis Coralluzzo show. I can't even remember who it was. Candido may have been involved, but at any rate, point being, I came up with a finish for these guys just for fun, where we sat down and thought of 12 finishes that everybody knows, that everybody has seen, and we did them all as false finishes, but none of them worked, and there was 300 and something people there. They were all jumping up and down because they were like, God damn, this is like a greatest hits album of finishes. You know, which one is it going to be? And finally, you know what the finish was? Small package. They were, because they were just bored. They knew we were fucking with them, but they helped. You know, they said, yeah, fuck with us. We like this. This is great. You just, if they know where the destination is, that doesn't mean they know what route you're going to take. So they know somebody's going to turn, and they know somebody's going to win the title or whatever. All hope is not lost. Just take them on a couple of detours first to convince them that they don't really know everything, and then you can still surprise them. Now, that's not to say, like some of these dumb shits that book shows, you got to have a surprise every show. Well, we've got to have a name superstar as a surprise. They got to pay a guy, and they got to fly him in, and they got to put him up, and they got to bring him out, and they don't advertise him. He's a surprise because the people have come to expect surprises. Dumb shits. A surprise, by its very definition and nature, means something that is unexpected. If they expect a surprise, how can it be a surprise? Heyman, he would do that. He got the people to the point where they had to have a surprise at every ECW arena. Well, fuck! If they expect it, it's not a surprise. You've wasted. Book a star, advertise him. People will buy tickets to see him. You will make money. Surprise them with some result of the match. Surprise them with something that happens that they don't expect. But there's another thing about Russo. That fucking prick. Let's just get him in here for a second. He would surprise people by doing shit that was so blatantly nonsensical or unexpected. You know what? I don't expect right now the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to knock on that door and ask me if I've sodomized a moose. That would be totally unexpected. That would be a huge surprise. And would also make no fucking sense. Because I may have done that to a moose if I'd been in Canada, but everybody knows I haven't been to Canada. He would do shit just to surprise people that made no sense in the story, and he would lose their viewers. Because it didn't make sense. Look at the Pretty Monkey. It didn't make sense. So you can't surprise people with shit that just blatantly is off the wall. Well, they'll never expect that. For good reason. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Sorry.
One last thing about pacing. If you could explain to the viewer out there how guys can build drama on a match by increasing the intensity or the violence or with last-ditch efforts or harder punches as the match goes on.
You know, once again, I know which match you're talking about, and I'll try not to put the Midnight Express over again, but in any kind of match like that, especially if the babyface is going over at the end, which is the best kind of Cinderella story for this to be, but you can do it both ways. But that really gets a babyface over when the heel has done everything to it but crucify him and can't beat him, and the kid keeps fighting, it keeps coming back, or keeps trying to get a tag if it's a tag match, and the heel has got to show more frustration on his face and more frustration in his body language, and just be like, what do I got to do to beat this guy? And things have to get a little more vicious, and he has to cheat a little bit more. He has to take a few more shortcuts. Has to really dig in harder, because that's building the intensity and building the emotion, the expectations of the people. My God, what is he going to have to do to beat this guy? And it gets the babyface over, it gets the heel over as a kick-ass sumbitch, but the babyface gets over as a guy who can take an ass whipping and still keep in there, keep fighting. He won't quit. Everybody hates a quitter. There's a definition of a heel. A babyface, a lot of times, can get over just by, even if he's overmatched, if he's good, if he's good enough to do other things that he needs to do. A babyface who is not a top babyface can get over more by losing, but by not quitting and having to practically be, hit with an axe to be beaten, than by winning. That's why everybody's well, geez, you beat the guy. Well, now he's dead. No. A lot of guys get over more by losing than they do by winning. So anyway, in answer to your question, boom, 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 more intensity, more frustration, even if you do win. It still took everything you had to beat that guy. People would probably like to see it again because it was close. Could have gone either way. Ali Frazier won. Ali Frazier 2. The reason for the rematch was because it could have gone either way. And when you beat somebody, once again, if it's a world title match and the world champion can't beat somebody, then who the fuck can beat him? So Jesus Christ. If you've got a guy that, especially a babyface, that you really want to elevate, you put him in a competitive match with a known top guy, top heel, and he takes that heel to the limit, and the heel has to win by the skin of his teeth. You've elevated the babyface instead of saying, okay, we're going to put the babyface over, but the people know he's not quite ready for it, and he wins, and people go, fuck you. Once again, that had to be fake. That was bullshit. He didn't deserve that. Well, now that they know it's all fake anyway, they would say, he didn't deserve that. You push him to Rock. Die, Rocky, die. People said he may look good, but he don't deserve to be winning all these fucking matches, and they turned on him. So he used that, and he used the animosity he had, because he was out there trying to, carry on his father and grandfather's name, and trying to smile and trying to do the best he can. They fucking hated his ass, because they sensed, you may be special, but you ain't special yet. You're getting pushed for you're ready. So he used that, and he said, okay, and it was believable. It was believable that he would be resentful. It was believable that he would take his frustration and his anger out on the people for saying, die, Rocky, die. And all of a sudden, then he started getting some heat as a heel, and then when he started getting more confidence, and all the rocks started coming out, then he started becoming a cool heel, and then the people turned him. Because the people, your most successful babyface heel turns, or heel babyface, actually your most successful heel babyface turns, people will turn him first. People will tell you, we're starting to like this guy, if you listen to him as a booker. And then you just give him more reasons to like the guy while he's still doing what he's doing to make them like him. Because if you just turn a guy, heel's getting over, he's getting popular. So you turn him babyface. Next week he's out kissing babies. People go, where the fuck did that come from? We liked that prick because at least he'd go out there and kick somebody's ass and wasn't worried about what people thought of him. Now he's kissing babies. Now you've killed him. Let the people turn him. Still let him keep doing the same thing he was doing that made him like him in the first place. And slowly give him a credible reason to say, okay, I'm going to fight that guy now. Turn on his partner or somebody else on that side that wants something, to where he's not just playing up to the people, he's doing it for a reason for himself, but now they get to see this guy kick the ass of that guy that they hate, using all the tactics that he usually used to kick the ass of the babyface they love. There you have it. That's perfect. That's how they managed to make us babyfaces for a short period of time, because Heyman could have turned Attila the Hun babyface. But they wanted to see me fight him because, my God, I'd never want to fight in my life. But he may be a prick, but he's our prick, Cornette, whereas this fucking prick's from New York and we're in Atlanta, so fuck him, we like him better. Process of elimination. Won a popularity contest, Adolf Hitler and Genghis Khan, battling it out for top spot, right? But that's something that you have to do to put people in their proper place. It's not about, this isn't writing, it's not about writing scripts, and it's about feeling. It's about emotion and psychology, and there's somebody out there that would love to see Kermit the Frog be the world heavyweight champion. I know there's one, there's got to be one, because there's somebody that likes everything. They wouldn't, if there wasn't somebody on this planet that liked everything, the German porn industry would be out of business, okay? So there's somebody that likes everything. What you have to do is you have to try to narrow it down to people a broad range of people that would like something. I don't care who wants to see Kermit the Frog. They can do their own wrestling thing. I'd rather see the people that want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. Give me that crowd. I like that crowd. I can make some money off of them. So you got to find something, talent that appeals to a wide variety of the audience, and put them together in situations where the people are interested to see what happens. Winners and losers are always good. Championships should always be important. And why did you piss on my leg, and I'm going to get even about it. Don't make it too fucking complicated. People don't watch TV with a goddamn notebook. Same thing with the matches. Actually, some fans these days on the internet that don't get laid very often do watch the matches with a fucking notebook. Oh, well, goddamn, I'll have to take points off for that missed Hurricane Rana. Fuck you, just goddamn, you ain't doing it. Give them a fucking break. They're trying. Some of them suck, but some of them are good. And some of them suck now, but would be good if you give them a chance. So lighten the fuck up.
Okay. Who are some of the wrestlers, maybe current day would be better, but some of the guys from another era that people should study, and why should they study these people?
Well, we can't go too far back because there's no way to study many of the people until the mid-'70s because there was no videotape and very little film. Once again, I'm very heavy on Jerry Lawler because, God, he was a classic babyface. He was a classic heel for his time, for his region. And who else do you know that has drawn crowds to the same building in the same moderately sized southern city for the past 30 years? And he just sold 5,000 tickets to see him and not much else. In the Coliseum, like, a month ago. He started main eventing there in 1974. And in 1 year alone, he drew like 370-something thousand paid admissions with him on top most of the time. You got to watch Ric Flair, obviously. Now, I'm not going to talk about a lot of the newer guys because everybody's seen them and everybody studied them. I'm not trying to knock or leave out a Mick Foley or a Steve Austin or a Rock or some major name like that from the past 5 years. But if you want to go back, study Dusty Rhodes. Because of his gift of talking, his promos, his ability to talk people in. And I mean, look at Dusty. I mean, he was not the most physically imposing as far as a bodybuilder, but the people thought he was tough. The people believed in him. When you go back, you look at anybody that drew money, that was on top for a long period of time, especially in more than one territory. All the NWA champions. For that matter, a lot of the top stars that worked St. Louis. A lot of the top guys in Florida, big wrestling territory. The 80s tapes from Atlanta, TBS both before and after Crockett took over. The guys can learn something from almost anybody that was really in a money-drawing position in this business. There were flukes and flashes in the pan and people who made it 6 months in one territory and never went anywhere else again. Leave that for later. But watch the top guys. Watch the guys that had the titles, that carried the territories, that got most of the television time. I guess what I'm saying is, watch old stuff. Because now what's old is new again. We wouldn't be doing the Midnight Express reunion after 20 years if they didn't want to see that stuff lingered in people's memory. We're not going to go out there and do the same kind of match we did 20 years ago because we're all 20 years older. But what we did 20 years ago lingered in the fans' memories to where they want to see it again. If the wrestlers of today can take from the guys today and also take from the guys of 20 years ago and see maybe Dory Funk Jr. and Jack Briscoe, St. Petersburg, Bayfront Center. They went 60 minutes. They had a legitimate wrestling match. You couldn't see a hole in anything. They didn't hit the ropes that much. There was a lot of 3 or 4 minute headlocks in that 60 minutes. Wouldn't play today. People's attention spans are shorter. They got remote controls, they got clickers, they got MTV, instant gratification, escort service. Can I have a blowjob and a pizza? I'm surprised that hadn't been done, by the way. Yeah, pizza and escort service. Get it all done all at the same time. But anyway, so what you do is you take that 60-minute match, you take out the 4-minute headlock, you put in a 20-second headlock, but you do the shit that they were doing elsewise, and you got a nice 18, 20-minute match, and it looks good, and it'll be exciting. Add the shit you can do. When you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. When you steal from many, it's research. Do what fits you and get these little ideas, these little tips, these little hints. And you can see what guys did to get over and make themselves memorable. Because ultimately it's about selling tickets, it's about drawing money, and you can't do that unless people remember you and they know when they came to see you they got their money's worth. And why did they? Because you did something that connected with them. And there's so many moves now being done that are death-defying and guys are putting themselves in hospital. But at the same time, it boils down to this. The check is the same for the match, whether you go to the hospital or whether you just have a nice match and go home to your family. So I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying don't lay your body on the line in the right situation, but pick your spots, and more importantly, it's not how many bumps you take, it's when you take the bump that you do take and whether the people like it, remember it, and it means something. Get the match over, you don't have to kill yourself. So everybody needs to think more, bump less, and realize that it's performance art, you're telling a story, you're connecting with an audience, and if you have the personality, the capability, and the psychology, then there's been a lot of people that weren't real athletic in this business made a lot of money just because they could get the people here. And that's what you need to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
And with that, I take a small bow.